Hey everybody, welcome to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host. And as always, this is brought to you powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As I said, guys, welcome to Palm Tree Sports. I'm glad to have you guys. We have so much to get into today. I can't wait to talk about the exciting victory that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were able to collect against the Lions. So we're going to dive into that. I'm going to give you a bird's eye view from everything I saw and what to expect moving forward for this team. The Jaguars and the Fins, both of these teams are struggling right now. We're going to get into what's going on with them, as well as college football, of course. Miami is the best team in college football right now out of the state of Florida, but we're going to see if they can topple USF. This will be their first challenge of the year, guys. We also got some MLB and some MLS action to talk about. Lionel Messi's return to Inter Miami. Saw him score 2 goals. We're going to jump into that. And then, of course, we'll talk about what's going on in the Rays and the Marlins, guys. These two teams struggling. One team with a shot at the postseason, the other team looking towards the offseason. And there's a lot to discuss outside of those 4 sports, of course, with the NBA returning to action next month. I can't wait to get back into the loop with the NBA and the NHL, as both of those will be returning shortly. But keep it locked here at Palm Tree Sports Radio, and we will discuss all that has happened this weekend in the Sunshine State of Florida and what to expect moving forward. Thanks, guys. My name again is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. My apologies, everybody. I was muted there, but welcome back to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, it is brought to you powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am pleased to have you on the show, you guys. We got a bunch of things to get into for this week's episode. As I mentioned before, super exciting victory for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to dive into that game and get a bird's eye view of exactly what happened in that game and why they were able to find success and why other teams can also mimic what the Buccaneers did to also find that success against the Lions, a team that we saw in the NFC Championship game last year. The Jaguars and the Miami Dolphins are both struggling right now, so we'll talk about what they're going through as far as their issues are concerned. Obviously, there's 2 different issues going on there, so we're going to dive into that. We're going to talk about Inter Miami and the return of Lionel Messi, and then, of course, Orlando City and the MLS. We'll move over to college football, discuss the Gators, the Noles, and the Miami Hurricanes, which is the best team in the state of Florida as far as college football is concerned. And then we will wrap things up with the MLS and then just what to expect moving forward for each of these teams next week and so on and so on. But first things first, guys, let's go ahead and get into our socials really quickly. If you guys are ever looking for us in your social media, whether that be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, IG, this is going to be the place to find us. It's at IE Sports Radio. Obviously, you can find us again on all those platforms, Twitter, or known as X now, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, whatever your social media platform is or where you like to, discuss your sports. That's where we're going to be at, guys, in all of those locations. for podcasts, guys. Anywhere you get your podcast, you can find IE Sports Radio. Not just my own show, but all the other shows that is encompassed here on IE Sports Radio. Mine's being Palm Tree Sports, per the example. So you'd be able to find us on Apple Music, on Spotify, on YouTube, on iHeartRadio, Amazon, whatever have you, wherever you get your podcast from, that's where we're going to be at, guys. If you're looking for the universal hub for IE Sports Radio, it's going to be iesportsradio.com. That is going to be the umbrella that all the shows fall under, just in case you're looking for another show. Big Cheese, KC, Carolina, New York, South Cali, whatever it is that you're looking for, we got it. And you can find it on the iesportsradio.com website, guys. And then, of course, if you are looking for the my apologies, IE Sports Radio, wrong one. There we go. Shop is where you're going to be able to find all of your gear at, your hats, your t-shirts, whatever it is that you're looking for. If you're looking for some IE Sports Radio gear, this is going to be the place to get. Again, iesportsradio.com/shop, guys. And then, of course, if you are trying to, I actually do not have it on here, so I do apologize for that inconvenience, you guys. But for the socials, for my specific social, it's going to be at Pujols Corey. That's where you're going to be able to find me at, guys. That is my at for the show of IE Sports Radio's Palm Tree Sports Radio. That is my at specifically. I do apologize. Like I said, I normally have it up here, but here we go. My apologies, guys. But this is it right here. This is, again, my socials. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter. I'm always talking sports. I've been talking sports all weekend with all the other guys from the other shows and from people from other states and whatnot that have been watching the show, even the Buccaneers from the UK. Shout out to the UK Buccaneer fan club. I don't know if, your team has any fan clubs such as that, but we do for Tampa Bay, and it's so cool to talk to those guys because they get up at different times to watch the Bucs play, and it's just so cool to see those guys and everything that they have going on. But yeah, that's it, guys, for the socials. Let's go ahead and get to our word from our sponsors, and then when we get back from that, we'll go ahead and jump right on into the show, guys. Our sponsors are Planet Jerky, the beef jerky that's on a whole nother planet, and of course, Seal the Deal wax seals by our very own Cecilia B, guys. So let's go ahead and get into a word from our sponsors, and when we get back, like I said, we will dive headfirst into the show and start discussing everything that went on today.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
Yes, guys, welcome back to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, guys. Again, welcome back to the show. As I said, when we get back from the break, we're going to go ahead and get into what's going on with the NFL. But first, two quick things real quick. One, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I'm having a little problems with my studio, but that's okay. We're going to work through it. We're going to get through this show. We're going to be good to go, guys. Second thing, let's take a quick peek at the comments right quick, guys. Obviously, I like to do that before we get started on everything. So first things first, Yukio, I see you. It's good to see you, my friend. I'm glad to have you on the show, Dad. Always a pleasure. Can't wait to hear your opinion on some of these things. Obviously, if we watch the same game, I'm pretty sure we're thinking the same thing. T-Rod in the building. Always a pleasure, my friend, to have you here. Let's have a great show. Absolutely. You already know it. And all the usual suspects, you guys rock. Always a pleasure. Larry, I know you're somewhere listening. Shout out to you, my friend. Greatly appreciate you and everything that you do for us here at IE Sports Radio. But without further ado, guys, now that we have covered those things, allow us to now dive into what we came here for, guys. And obviously that would be some updates on what's going on in the world of sports for the brand and state of Florida, guys. So as a Buccaneer fan, I'm pleased to report that we have acquired what we call payback or revenge in the South here. We were able to defeat the Detroit Lions by a score of 20-16. Okay, so as exciting as it is to say that, the score should be higher for one, and for two, I've been telling you guys for a year now, the Buccaneers are a lot better than they look, and Baker Mayfield is better than he looks. Look, I can't listen. You guys have been watching sports long enough. If you're listening to the show, then you guys know exactly what I'm about to tell you is true. Anybody who wrote off Baker Mayfield too early, I pity you. Y'all made a mistake, okay? This kid is special, and he's a wizard, okay? When I mean wizard, I mean Wingardium Leviosa kind of wizard, okay? This guy got some skills, all right? So if you guys watch the game, again, score was 20-16 Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay rolls into Detroit, gets some much-needed vindication over the last two losses that we suffered last year to the Detroit Lions. So last year, we lost the regular season game, I believe it was 20-12 to the Detroit Lions. And then, and mind you, that game was in Tampa Bay. So Detroit came to Tampa Bay, beat us, went back home. Then in the playoffs, we went to Detroit, and we lost to Detroit. I'm going to die on the hill that the referees really helped out Detroit in that game, because when I tell you that the Buccaneers are a better team, I mean that, and I think we showed that a lot today. And we showed it in a very gritty way, okay? And I'm going to use the term gritty just because if you guys watched the game, y'all saw Vita Vea went down pretty early, and he had an apparent knee injury. Now, Dad, I see you in the comments. You mentioned, you actually mentioned that he got hurt during that game. And yeah, it's very true. So it's a knee injury. They think that it's a knee sprain. If that's the case, then we'll be okay. He'll be out a couple of weeks and whatnot, rehab, and get himself back together and in shape. But we're hoping that's what it is. Initial indication is that's what it will be. And he has MRIs and x-rays tomorrow. So we will see what happens. I will be back obviously next Sunday with a update on Vita Vea. Obviously that's a big deal because he's the centerpiece of that Buccaneers defensive line. He is the guy that the defensive line is built around, and he's probably one of the best, if not the very best nose tackle in the league, okay? So very, very big deal there for Tampa Bay, but even still then, no Luke Gadecki, okay? We had a couple other. Antoine Winfield Jr. did not play, okay? So we were actually without a ton of our best players, and it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter because let's be 100% honest. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the better team. We have the better quarterback. We have the better receiving group, and we have probably the better overall defense. Okay. Now, our defense at times was lax. It was very bend but don't break, if you will. That's okay. That'll win you some games, right? That'll win you some games. But against the better teams, we're obviously going to have a little bit more discipline. But the best part about it is the youngsters are really stepping up, right? So we got a lot of production from the youngsters. Servassier Dennis had an amazing game. Obviously, Zion McCullum had an amazing game. He had an interception with six pass breakups and 6 tackles to boot. This kid was all over the football. Should have been 2 interceptions, but hey, we're not going to complain with that. We're going to take the W. We're happy with that. On defense, also usual suspects showing up. Levante David was there, all-around backer, as you guys know him to be. Jordan Whitehead stepped into a number of plays and really just disrupted that Lions offense. And then I really think that Jared Goff had an off game. Usually when he plays against Tampa Bay, he plays very well, but today he did not, and I'm glad he did not, but he did not because of the exotic blitz packages that we were sending his way. There were times where we had Yaya Diaby on the outside with a one-on-one. I think Levante David screamed through the line at one point earlier. Vita Vea, before he got knocked out of the game, had been disrupting that offensive line just the entire time, the entirety of his time in the game, I should say. He was primarily getting one-on-ones, and you guys know what Vita does to one-on-ones. So it's definitely great to see the success that this team was having on getting pressure. I don't think we had any sacks, but we definitely got some pressure on Jared. Forced a bunch of errant throws, including 2 interceptions. And whenever you're able to force 2 interceptions, that's going to be a big W. That I see Christian Izien definitely belongs out there. Yes, he does. He played phenomenal down the stretch. He had a play that was a no call where he had a little bit of defensive holding, but luckily at the end of the day, though, he played better than we expected him to. And this is a guy that's going to bounce around from safety to cornerback. So, guys, if you see Christian Izien, that's who he's talking about. Great ball player, great in space, great ball instincts, and field IQ. Coach Bowles coached a great game today. I think his coaching might have actually saved us in this game. This is going to be one of those things where I look at Coach Bowles and I say, hey, man, good job on the defensive play calling. Good job with your packages, who you're utilizing and when you're utilizing them. And again, great job on scouting, just knowing where the youngsters were going to be able to go to find success and, putting your team in position for success. But like I said, we discussed the injuries. The team still won. Tampa Bay is for real this year. Tell your friends. 2-0 to start the season. Can't wait to see what's going to happen moving forward. We have a game against the Broncos next week. This is a game that Tampa Bay should, in theory, easily win. Okay. Broncos are obviously struggling right now. This franchise doesn't know where it's going, what it's doing, or what it's trying to do. Under John Elway, I think he was a better player than he is in the position that he is at. I don't like the Broncos. I've never really liked the Broncos. I've liked some of the players that they've had, Rod Smith and Terrell Davis, and those guys are pretty cool, right? But I'm not a real big Broncos fan. I don't like how they did Tim Tebow. So I have my own personal viewpoint against the Broncos, and of course with Tampa Bay going to visit them next week, like I said before, I'm putting Tampa Bay in the driver's seat. I don't see why they shouldn't win this game. That game is going to be Sunday, September 22nd at 1 p.m. With the Buccaneers rocking a 2-0 record and the Broncos having an 0-2 record, it's one of those games where it looks like, okay, like that's a gimme, but again, we're still going to have to be careful. We're still going to have to play well. I said be careful. I can't stress that enough. Be careful, because the thing that's going to hurt Tampa Bay this year is injuries. Okay. We're probably not going to shoot ourselves in the foot, and I'm knocking on wood as I say that, guys. Realistically, the concern that we have with this team is injuries, okay? If the Buccaneers can stay healthy, they're probably a top 10, you could argue right now, top 5 team in the league right now, okay? Again, the best receiving core in the NFL, in my opinion. A quarterback who was forgotten about, in a defense that's just surging behind a great defensive-minded coach, and an offense whose offensive coordinator looks like he's been doing this for years, right? So super excited about this team and what's moving forward. Super excited to see what Liam Cohen has in store for this offense. Of course, this offense just looks phenomenal right now. The best it's looked since Tom Brady's been here. And so, like I said, next week, Broncos, 1 p.m., let's go get a W and go to 3-0 and hopefully move to the top of this division. Obviously, the Saints are still 2-0. They completely destroyed the Cowboys today. As much as I don't like the Saints, I also don't like the Cowboys. So I didn't care who won that game. And then, of course, with Atlanta and the Carolina Panthers both struggling. Carolina is shot. They're dead in the water right now. It's unfortunate what's happening to that franchise. And then Atlanta's 1-1. They just have some identity issues right now. With Kirk Cousins coming over, it kind of changes the way that they want to try to play offense a little bit. I know that they were looking for a pocket passer to try and just be more of a field general for the team and whatnot with the weapons that they have. The problem is the continuity is not there. And without continuity, it's really hard to find success. Clearly, Tampa Bay was an anomaly doing that last year. Same thing with Tom Brady, but I think we kind of earned it. We kind of deserve it with a lot of work and during the offseason, a lot of work with the team outside of the regular OTAs, mandatory practices, and mini camps. So that's what's super exciting about Tampa Bay right now, guys. Best team in Florida as far as the NFL is concerned. Yeah. Dad, I agree with you. Big game by Zion McCollum after concussion protocol. This is one of those things where I'm glad that his concussion wasn't as bad as it could have been, right? Because if it was, obviously he wouldn't have played today. So having him back was really, really big. He definitely looks like cornerback one. Jamel Dean got burned a couple of times, guys. Don't tell your friends about that. I'm not sure what's going on with our CB1, but he's quickly becoming a CB2. And if Christian Eisen keeps playing the way that he's playing, he'll be a CB3 quick. At this point, I'm pretty sure that during the next draft, we're probably going to look to replace him, especially if he continues to play the way that he's been playing. But I mean, hey, what can you really do, right? Like, what honestly can you really do except for just wait until the draft gets here? In the meantime, between time, let's go ahead and talk about the Jaguars. So the Jaguars, they had the lead against the Browns, and then they blew it. So I don't know what's going on with the Jaguars. I have a hunch, and it's a very simple hunch. This team is just not good. This team is just not a good football team. I think that they have great draft picks and players in specific places, right? So obviously, Brian Thomas Jr., phenomenal pickup, great wide receiver. He's going to be great for them for a long time. Trevor Lawrence, he's trying, right? Like he's trying, but they can't run the football, okay? And when you can't run the football, excuse me, guys, when you can't run the football, it's going to be hard to play action pass. Now, I seem hypocritical with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey. It's Gronk's jersey, guys, just in case you guys are wondering who it is. It's Gronkowski. Big 8'7", baby. Best tight end to ever do it. When you look at what the Jaguars are going through, like I said, they just have talent everywhere, but they can't put it together. Why? Well, coaching is a bit of an issue right now, I think. At the end of the day, when you look at a team and you see that they have just been struggling, especially when you look at the second half of last year, and then you're moving into this year, you think that this team would have been better this year than they would have been last year, and yet they start out actually worse. The 0-2 start by the Jaguars just kind of signifies what the team is struggling with, and I think that like I said, mainly is because of the lack of a run game. When you can't run the ball, you can't pass the ball, but also when you can't run the ball, your defense ends up spending a lot of time out in the field. And I think that that's what's happening in Jacksonville right now. That defense is getting beat and battered, and they're just spending too much time on the field to be able to just retain some of that speed and some of that desire to play in the second half of the game, guys. Football is a hard sport, right? If you've played football, you know this. It's not – there's a lot of contact. Anything can happen at any point in time. And, of course, everybody's getting hit left and right. Whether you have the ball or not, you're probably getting hit. And I think that the Jaguars are just suffering right now. They're suffering from the lack of physicality and the lack of the ability to run the football. I think that if they had the ability to run the football, that they would probably be 2-0 right now, and that they wouldn't be staring 0-3 in the face. And when I say staring 0-3 in the face, that's because they have to play the Bills. I mean, so the Bills just beat Miami, right? They beat the dog crap out of Miami. I mean, what are we expecting from the Jaguars? So the Jaguars are 0-2 and they're playing they can't run the football. What are they supposed to do against a 2-0 Miami team who's riding one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL and a team that's found a lot of success over the last 3 years, guys? Bills are going to win that game. Jags are going to go to 0-3. That's just how that goes. You guys know I'm realistic. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, the Jaguars can win if they do this or they can't. Okay, look, they can't run the football, okay? What are you going to do against a team that can score on offense? We're talking about a team that just put up 31 points against the Finns on Thursday Night Football. This team is one of the better teams in the NFL right now, and in my opinion, the best team in the AFC East, okay? And I said that before the season started. It's still my viewpoint, okay? But it is what it is. Like I said, Jaguars lose the game to the Browns. 18-13 was the score of that ball game. Browns rocking a 1-1. Jags are 0-2. Buccaneers 2-0. And Finns 1-1 right now. So, if the Jaguars want to find success, they're going to have to re-identify themselves. They're going to have to come out with a new scheme. If they just need to air it out, that's what they're going to have to do. But they've got to stop trying to be somebody that they're not. And I think that's on Doug Peterson right now. I'm just going to wrap the segment up with that, guys. I'm trying to find the words to say, but it's so hard when you're watching a team play like this and you know what the issue is, but they can't do anything to fix it. The Florida Gators are actually going through the exact same issue. The Florida Gators and the Florida State Seminoles are actually going through the exact same thing. We'll get into that when we do the college football bit. But my final thoughts for this is that, again, like I said, the Jags lose the game to the Bills. That game is going to be a Monday night game. The Bills play very well on Monday night. They have played very well on Monday night for the last 3 years or so, give or take. So obviously I'm going to give it to the Bills in this game. It's probably going to be a bit of a wash. I just don't see how this game is going to be close, especially knowing that the Jaguars are probably struggling mentally right now. And physically, they're just getting beat up left and right. So I'm going going to go Buffalo Bills win this game. They're going to win big. Probably like a 34-17 ball game, I'd say. Probably about 34-17. I say that the Jags probably get into the end zone before the half ends, and then I see that they probably put up 10 points, get a field goal, maybe a couple of field goals, but I'm going to give them a second touchdown late in the game. Josh Allen goes off. He's probably going to go something like 24 of 34 for like 320 yards and like 3 touchdowns, 2 in the air, 1 on the ground. It's such a shame when you can kind of pinpoint what you expect to happen against a team, but watching this Jacksonville Jaguar team play, that's what I see, guys. That at least that's what's going to happen to them, and that there's not much they can do about it. I really wish that there was, but there's just not. Okay, so Fins, right? Okay, let's talk Fins. So Fins are in a weird spot right now, and I know this is a part that you guys are probably waiting on. Corey, what do you think about the whole Tua Tagovailoa situation? Let's just jump right into that. We'll talk about the score of the game in a minute, okay? Tua, I said this at the beginning of the season. The Fins season rides on Tua's health. I don't care. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, just all the stars that they have on that offense, as high-powered, as fast as that offense was that scored 72 points last year, doesn't matter to me. None of that means anything to me if Tua is not healthy, okay? None of it. I don't care. If Tua can't play football, the Dolphins are just like any other football team out there, okay? They're not going to win the division. They may not even make the playoffs. So we've all seen the play, right? Like, we've all seen Tua's injury. For those of you who haven't seen Tua's injury, let me just tell you, it's one of those injuries that when you look at it, you're just like, okay, look, you're screwing yourself up at this point. So for those of you who did not know about it, I'm going to give you a quick rundown. Last year, Tua Tagovailoa suffers 2 concussions in a 3-week period, okay? One of those concussions looked really, really bad. Concussions are not a one-off thing. When you have a concussion, you're susceptible to having more concussions, okay? I've had a concussion. I had a concussion in high school playing football. It was backyard football. Long story short, I tried to chuck somebody. They were much bigger than me, picked me up, powerbomb me around the back of my head. I was unconscious, okay? It was really scary. I can't really explain what happened when I had the concussion, but I can tell you that afterwards, I was off. It felt like, imagine if you have train tracks, right? And there's a track missing. That's how it felt mentally. Like I knew that I was conscious, but I didn't know why my head was pounding. I didn't remember what happened before the concussion. And I also don't remember what I was doing, where I was at when I was at school. I was like, okay, I'm at school, but why am I at school after school? Playing football. That's why. There was no great reason. That's why I was playing football. So concussions are scary. And they do something to you. Every time you get a concussion, I believe you probably lose a part of yourself. And it may be a part of yourself from a mental aspect, from a characteristic aspect. It may be something that you just forgot that you were supposed to do on a regular basis. The bottom line is Tua's in a place, and I hate to say this for the young man, but I'm in a position as a fan to say this. I watched him in college. He needs to retire. He needs to retire, guys. And Crooks, I see you, bro. I see you. And I think so too. Like, I wish he could get healthy, but we saw the play, okay? He lowered his head into Damar Hamlin. Damar Hamlin hardly touched him, hardly did anything to him. And Tua just leaned his head in like that, and boom, concussion. And it wasn't a pretty concussion because his arm was doing the whole, like, final motion thing that you do, like when your brain is sending messages to the rest of your body when you're unconscious or before you go unconscious. That is scary, okay? And not only is that scary, that is a big play on his future. So I love the game of football more than anybody. I understand how you feel, Tua. It's time for you to take a step back and look at what's really important. I mean, and it's your future that's important. The game of football isn't going anywhere. Like I said, we understand you love the game. There's other ways to play it. But right now, 3 concussions in 2 years, and it's really less than a 2-year span. It's really like 18 months, right? Like the 3 concussions in 18 months, guys, it's too much. Let's be 100% honest. It's too much, okay? So for the sake of for Tua's health and for his future, sorry, kid, it's probably time for you to hang it up and focus on living the rest of your life out and being effective in a way where you don't have to worry about this. All right. That's the only way I can say it. I know my voice got a little serious right there. I care about Tua. I want him to be okay. but football is not going to be the way for him. It's just it's not going to be the way. And Dad, I love your comment. Of all people, Damar Hamlin, right? Of all people, Damar Hamlin. So glad to see him back out there, though. What a success story for him and for what he's been through. For those of you who don't remember, Damar Hamlin suffered cardiac arrest on the field. Cardiac arrest, for those of you who are not familiar with, essentially is when you're dead for a little bit. Your heart stops beating, and CPR is going to be needed to resuscitate you in most cases. And so it's just great to see him back. It's just so great to see him back. But yeah, poor Tua. Poor Tua. That's all I can say. Guys, to round out the information for you guys, just so I can go ahead and move past this, the Bills won that game 31-10. Hey, if you guys were watching the show last week, I said this could happen, and guess what? It happened. Buffalo blew out Miami. It has obviously 100% to do with the fact that Tua got hurt, but there's no way around it, right? So we knew that was going to happen. Good job, Buffalo. Again, they moved to 2-0. They've locked in control of that AFC East already. They look like the best team there, and that's my pick for them to win that division. The next game for the Miami Dolphins is going to be against the Seahawks. It's a very dangerous Seahawks team right now. They're quietly 2-0. They're playing great football at the time, and I'm looking forward to seeing this game. I think the Seahawks are probably going to take this game. Unfortunately, they're riding a wave of success, and DK Metcalf just looks like he can't be stopped right now. So I'm going to rock with the Seahawks on that game. That game is Sunday, September 22nd, 4:05 p.m., just in case you want to check it out. That is the only afternoon game on that Sunday, because the other game, obviously the Jaguars game, is going to be on a Monday night, and the Buccaneers game is going to be on a Sunday afternoon, the 1 o'clock ball game. So just be prepared for that, guys, moving forward. Those are my thoughts so far on the three teams. And like I said, super excited for Tampa Bay. Jacksonville, a lot of identity issues, can't run the football, can't find success. Buffalo, Miami, they need to be able to just move forward right now from Tua. Like I said, I think at this point, Tua's got to look at himself and say, hey, man, I want to live the rest of my life out, and I can't do that with all these concussions. So that's just what I think. But, hey, it is what it is, guys. But thank you for keeping it locked here at Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Keep it locked here, guys. When we get back, we'll talk MLS, some Lionel Messi news as far as how he played on his return, and then we'll get into the MLB and to college football before I send you on your way, guys. Again, it's my pleasure to speak with you guys. Keep it locked here. We'll be back in 2 minutes, all right?
The light is red, the kids are in bed, which means it is time for Mile High Musings with me, Aaron Yowell, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we are back, guys. This is Palm Tree Sports Radio. Corey Pujols, your host. And as always, is brought to you and powered by IE Sports, your direct feed for all that is sports, guys. Okay, so listen, now that we're back, let's go ahead and talk about what's going on in the MLS, guys. Obviously, Inter Miami just played Philly. They won their game, but obviously the score the team they played, doesn't matter. Lionel Messi returned to the lineup after being out since, I believe it was July. And, so that's big for Inter Miami. Now, we're talking about the best team in soccer right now, so it's not like they were really concerned. But having him back, man, let me tell you, such a direct impact. 2 goals on his return to Miami against Philly. They won their game by a score of 3-1, about what you expect from Inter Miami, your typical run-of-the-mill Miami game. They improved to 19-4. This team is just stacked. This team is so good, and obviously they have the best player in soccer right now. Lionel Messi's return was just massive. So great to have him back. 2 goals, like I said, just absolutely massive right now. And I can't wait to see how they perform in their next game. Speaking of the next game, that's going to be against Atlanta United. Atlanta United rocking the 8-13 record, so they're a subpar team, unfortunately. This is going to be a less than advantageous game as far as the action is going to be concerned. I fully suspect Miami wins this game and move to 20-4 as they get ready to round out the season and look into the postseason. Get ready to host a trophy, right? Because this is the best team in soccer. Like I said, there's no discussion about it right now. This team is absolutely running away with the MLS, and who could blame them? And how could anybody stop them right now? Now that Lionel Messi's back into the lineup, so good job, guys. Super proud of y'all. The game against Atlanta United is going to be Wednesday, September 18th, 7:30 p.m. guys. So late game, and it's also the same time as the Orlando City game. So I'll give you those details in a few moments, guys. But just be prepared for that. Just know that those 2 games are going to be back and forth. So if you are a fan of the MLS, you want to see what's going on in the state of Florida? Do you want to see the best team in soccer right now? Okay, well, there you go. You're going to be able to flip back and forth. Yeah, no, that's how I do it. Again, that game, Atlanta United, Wednesday, September 18th, 7:30 p.m. is going to be the start time for that game. Get your chance to see Lionel Messi again. Now, real quick, yeah, Dad, yeah, man, I had to mention that. Obviously, super excited for Lionel to be back into the lineup. We haven't talked about him in a couple of months. So super massive, right? Super massive for Miami. Just also very proud of this team. This team has found a lot of success, and they're playing some of the best soccer we've ever seen before. So, yeah, can't wait to see this next game. I'm going to try to catch it myself, hopefully. If I can't catch it on the thing, I'll watch the highlights for it so I can give you guys, again, some more information on how that goes. But, super, super exciting. Having Lionel Messi back into the lineup. And then, of course, for the Orlando City. So Orlando City, not a bad team. I've been telling you guys this, man, for the last few weeks. This team is good. This team just had to play Miami twice and Cincinnati. Cincinnati sitting at number 2 in the East. So, of course, they're playing good soccer as well. But Orlando City moving into 11-10, moving past the 500 margin for the second time this season. My bad. And this team is good. This team is pretty good. All right, guys. So we're going to have to give some credit. Credit is due. Very proud of this team. They got their W against New England 3-0. So a shutout victory there against New England. Obviously, New England not playing the best soccer. They're not very good. Let's just be honest. The better soccer teams are in the South. I'm going to just say it. It's on everybody's mind. Everybody's looking at the MLS standings, and everybody's like, everybody's in the South. Yes, the best teams are all in the South, guys. I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. So, but good job, Orlando City. Super proud of you guys. 11-10 be their record now. Like I said, moving across that 500 mark, which is very big in soccer. Obviously, you're giving yourself a shot at the postseason and a chance to fight for a trophy, right? So good job, Orlando City. Super proud of you guys. Keep moving forward. Next game is going to be against Charlotte. That game is going to be Wednesday, September 18th. 7:30 p.m. Same exact time as the Inter Miami game. So if you guys want to get a chance to see them both play, boom, there you go. Same time, same day. Go check them out. Charlotte, 10-10, one of those teams that's right there on the cusp. Are they good? Or are they not? No, that's a good team. If you're at 500 right now, you're a decent team. You got to put it all together, right? So that's going to be a good game, guys. Charlotte, Orlando City coming at you. Again, that time is going to be Wednesday, September 18th. 7:30 p.m. guys, just in case you guys want to check out some Florida soccer. Okay, guys. So now we're gonna move on into the college football aspect. Okay, so you guys, if you've been listening to the show long enough, you guys know I used to do college football like right after the NFL, but right now college football is in a weird spot. The NFL is the NFL. Everybody loves the NFL, right? College football is the less watched out of the two. Not everybody cares about where the kids play college. I do. I personally think college is a little bit more exciting than NFL football. And this is a large part reason why. Obviously, we thought FSU was going to be the team out of Florida coming in. This was going to be the better team. No, as it turns out, they're not. The best team in Florida right now is the Miami Hurricanes. Or are they? Miami's going to be playing USF. USF is 2-1. They played Alabama pretty tough and had a chance to beat Alabama, and instead they took a field goal. Team kind of gave up after that, and Alabama goes to put up, 38 points or something like that. an unhealthy defeat for USF, but not to say this, they are the second best team in the state of Florida as far as football is concerned. I fully suspect that if USF played FSU or the University of Florida, they would beat both of those teams in the current state those teams are in. And so that says a lot about our brands right now. But so for the Gators, right, a lot of people want to know what's happening in Florida, what's going to happen with Billy Napier, right? So let's just go ahead and get in that. That's what's on everybody's mind. Let's talk about it. Okay, so Billy Napier, okay. Very, very close friend of mine's, Demetrius. He is in the Air Force. Just came back home. Shout out to you, Demetrius. Love you, bro. He thinks that Billy Napier should not be fired. This is not the consensus theory here for all Florida Gators fans. There are a lot of Florida Gator fans who are calling for his firing. So I actually completely understand the logic behind it. Here's the problem with people who don't understand semantics, right? The Gators just got DJ Lagway, who is the #1 high school quarterback recruit coming out of the entire United States, okay? The #1 quarterback in all of the United States plays for the University of Florida. The person who recruited him is Billy Napier. You fire Billy, wherever Billy goes, DJ may very well follow. There is no dress it up, light a candle, make it look pretty, whatever it is you want to call it. That's the reason why the Gators are not hung on firing him right now, okay? Does he deserve to be fired? By Florida standards, yes. Absolutely. For those of you who do not know much about college, the University of Florida is a very storied college. 3 Heisman Trophy winners, 3 national championships. 2 of those national championships came 2 years apart under the watch of the greatest to ever do it in college football, Tim Tebow, who was also one of the Heisman Trophy winners. This college is the fundamental reason for the drink of Gatorade, has one of the best veterinarian schools, medical schools in the United States, and also some of the best track and field teams that you will ever find assembled. We've sent many people over to the Olympics, and they've won many medals. Okay, this college is very special. This is not your, like nobody knows this college. This college has a lot of history. So when you look at that, you understand it's a terminology that they use on campus called the Gator Standard. Okay, and the Gator Standard is success. Okay, and it's through hard work. It's a ton of hard work and teamwork, but that's the Gator Standard. When that Gator Standard gets broken down, the Athletic Commission, University of Florida, has a very strong opinion on firing people. If you guys haven't noticed, we've had 4 head coaches in the last 10 years. Okay, that's because Florida is not going to tolerate a lack of success. That's what we're experiencing right now, and that's the reason why Billy Napier is on the hot seat. However, obviously, it may not be a good idea to fire him, all right, because you could be losing your future pieces, if you will, when you look at all the guys that he's recruited, okay? So that's a big concept, but I want to get that out the way before we go into the details of the games, just because, again, if you're on the outside looking in, you're saying, why are you guys not fired this guy yet? Well, that's the reason, because he is responsible for acquiring the future of the University of Florida, and you don't want to lose that future all because he hasn't been able to put it together. With that being said, I will be the first one to tell you that the 33-20 loss to the Aggies this past Saturday was a very stinging loss. It was a very hurtful loss, and it was one of those losses that kind of reflect where this franchise is at. Before I get into that, let's take a quick look at the comments right quick, guys, because I'm really gonna deep dive into this. I'm gonna make it quick, but I'm gonna get to the point, and I want you guys to understand. So, yes. Yeah. So what Dad is saying in some of the comments is we had some really bad, there were some bad calls. There was one specific call. You guys can go find the tape on this, and I would like for you guys to go look at it. If you do, please come back and comment in the comment section if you looked at it. But if you guys can pull up, it's like a 10-second clip, and it's about a tackle. One of the Gators defenders actually got disqualified from the game, and there was a 15-yard automatic first down penalty due to targeting. Now, the targeting, I argue, just can't be targeting because the receiver jumped 6 feet into the sky. So the quarterback threw a high throw, Reed, Marcel Reed or something like that, the quarterback for the Aggies, who's filling in. He was a backup quarterback, by the way. The Gators got beat up by the backup quarterback. But the receiver had to climb the ladder to make the catch. Now, when he's climbing the ladder to make the catch and he's like this, they're calling him a defenseless player, right? But here's the problem. He's playing the football, and so is the defender. So I don't think you can have a defenseless player concept if we're playing the ball, right? So the defender can't make the play on the ball because the receiver is in front of him, right? So the receiver is going to be able to make the play on the ball. The defender can only come in and make the tackle. When the defender comes in to make the tackle, because the receiver is so high in the sky, the defender's helmet hits the side and back area of the wide receiver, and they call that targeting. But I have a question for you. Wherever the body goes, the head goes, right? As you guys can see me right here on screen, wherever the body goes, the head goes. What is he supposed to do? Because if he puts his head down, his body's going down. It's a rule of martial arts. Wherever you want the body to go, you manipulate the head. Wherever the body goes is where the head goes. What is he supposed to do? And how do you call him a defenseless receiver if they're both playing the ball? Terrible call, guys. Led to a first down and a touchdown. And if you take that touchdown and the pick six off the board, the Gators would actually be ahead in that game, or at least have a better opportunity to score. Like I said, stinging loss, terrible loss. 33-20 was the score of that ball game. Gators had ample chances to stay in the game, bring themselves back into the game. They were playing against a backup quarterback, but there were just a number of things that went wrong. The Gators could not run the football for the better part of 3 quarters. They were at negative 22 yards rushing. Negative 22 yards. The Gators, unfortunately, are in danger of only having one victory on their record after the performance that we saw on Saturday. Going back and forth between DJ Lagway and Graham Mertz was not the answer. That was a terrible idea. Unfortunately, I think you should have just gave it to one of the guys and say, hey, listen, there's 2 different sets of logic here. One set of logic says you give it to Graham Mertz because he's the veteran, he's the senior, and you just let him play his game and hopefully he pulls out a W. The other logic is, you know what this team has been struggling with, and you saw what DJ Lagway did last week with that 45-7 victory over Sanford, and you say, give it to the young man. He's the future. He's got what it takes. Put him out there and let's see what happens. Either way, Texas A&M played a great game. Congratulations to the Aggies. I'm not impartial to that team. I don't hate that team or anything like that. So, congratulations to them, like I said, and hopefully they're going to be able to continue to play well. The Gators, a lot of research needs to be done between now and before that stretch of Texas, LSU, and Georgia, because it looks like we're about to get massacred. I personally guarantee you that the University of Florida is not a happy campus right now with what we've seen from our teams. So that's what's going on there for the Gators. Next game is going to be against Mississippi State, another team that's struggling. They come in and rocking a 1-2 record. This team is performing just as bad as the Gators. We'll see what happens. I have no reservations about this game. I'm not going to give you guys a possible score. I don't even know who's starting. Nobody knows. Billy Napier doesn't even know who's starting. But that game is going to be Saturday, September 21st, 12 p.m. So early start time. So I'll be watching that game, guys, and I'll be able to tell you exactly what just happened. Same way we talked about what happened here. Is the Gator season over? It might be, guys. It might very well be. Barring something dramatic, this team is cooked. So sorry for the Gen Z reference there, guys, but it is what it is. So now then, let's go ahead and talk about the Noles. So the Noles are also in a terrible place, right? So the Noles are 0-3. They haven't started 0-3 since I can't remember. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't remember the last time the Noles started 0-3. I'd like to say it was early in the 2000s before Jameis got there. I think between him and Elijah Manuel, EJ Manuel, something like that. I can't remember what his name was, but that was about 2008, 2009-ish, give or take. Somewhere around that time was probably the last time this team played this bad. I can't stress this enough. Georgia broke FSU, okay? Georgia just completely dismantled and to a mineral form, they broke FSU. FSU was just going through so much last year, especially when their quarterback, Jordan Travis, went down. And then after that, there was a lot of questions about, can this team, succeed? Georgia balled up all of those ideals and concepts and theory crafting about the Noles being a good team and threw it out the window into an incinerator that just lit it up in flames. This team is cooked. This team may not win a game this season. If we thought that the Gators were playing bad football, there's something going on across the street in FSU. And let me tell you something, whatever's in the water, it's got them in a really bad place right now. I cannot describe this. From what I have seen, I watched the first game, I watched half of the second game, and I watched a quarter of this past game, okay, against Memphis. Now, Memphis, I already said they were a good team. They came in 2-0, they're 3-0. Good job, Memphis. This team is usually a good football team. Memphis is not a team to be slept on, okay? They've been good for a little while, for a better part of a decade now, okay? So No surprise there, them losing to Memphis. What the surprise is the way that they're losing, right? So they're not scoring any points. Why are they not scoring any points? But they can't run the football. Same problem that Jacksonville's having. How ironic that the team down the street from the other team, the college team down the street from the pro team, is having the exact same problem in the state of Florida. Can't run the football. If you can't run the football, what have we discussed, guys? It's basic logic. If you can't run the football, you can't play action pass. If you can't play action pass, you can't keep control of possession of the football. If you can't keep possession of the football, you lose on time. And if you lose on time, your defense spends too much time out there. If your defense spends too much time out there, the other team is either scoring points or you're tired. And if you're tired, they're scoring points. Okay, it's a simple cause effect, and it goes down. It's a revolving door, and it's a snowball effect. So football is very simple. That's why all the teams that find success have great running backs. They have good running game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are making me look kind of like hypocritical as I'm saying that, but we have good running backs. We just can't run the football very well. The Noles are having that issue though in a way where they are the quarterback is just completely lost. Like I'm not sure what Clemson transfer is up to right now, but I know he's not playing good football. Okay, coaching is a problem for FSU right now. They're just the culture is lost in FSU, and like I said, Georgia broke it. There's no other way to say it. There's no other way to look at it. Watch the team play, you'll see exactly what I'm saying. They can't run the football, and that's that. I'm going to die on that hill. That's what's happening with FSU. Their next game is going to be against Cal. They're going to lose that game. Cal is. They're not a great team, but they're a sturdy team, and they're not going to lose to a wavering FSU. We don't know who we are, identity, dust in the air kind of team. They're not. So Cal's going to win this game. They're probably going to win it big because Cal can run the football. That's actually one of the big differences between these two teams is Cal can run the football. I fully suspect that FSU will be 0-4 by this time next week, and when they are, we'll be talking about that and what they couldn't do there, and it's probably going to be more of the same. They can't run the ball. So we'll see what happens moving forward with them. The Canes. Let's talk about the Canes, guys. The Canes are the best team in college football right now in the state of Florida. This team pretty much looks the part. There's just one problem with this team. And here's the only issue that I foresee Miami having. They haven't played anybody. The Gators are terrible. Beating up the Gators means nothing. They was doing all this, whatever. Yeah, it doesn't matter, bro. The Gators suck. I'm a Gator fan. I'm watching this team play. This team is terrible. Now, the future for this team is, it's bright. It's brighter than the light. It's like supernova bright. Like this team has everything it needs to go moving forward into the future. Right now, I feel like we look terrible halfway because we're playing a lot of seniors and trying to get them noticed, trying to get them ready for the NFL, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't equate to winning, right? So the Canes don't have this problem. The Canes did a ton of work, ton of work during the offseason in the transfer portal. They got a kid, Cam Ward. This kid's legit. He's a star. He is phenomenal. The kid is just, oh my God. I'm impressed. I'm not a Miami fan, but I am very impressed by Cam Ward. This guy led them to a victory over Ball State. I know it's Ball State. I don't make this stuff up. It's the schedule. It is what it is. But it was 62-0 victory there. Cam Ward goes off, man. What was it? The 19 for 28, 346 yards, 5 touchdowns, Cinco. Big 5, okay? 5 touchdowns for Cam Ward, transfer out of Miami. If you guys ever watch him play football, it's the craziest thing. He's the most nonchalant football player I've ever seen. He's so tall, so he like slouches over a little bit, sort of like this here. And when he takes the snap, he's just kind of swaying his arms. Like, you guys ever seen like those big ogres in like movies, like in or if you guys seen Infinity War or any of the like Avengers movies and whatnot, and you see when the bad guys come through the portals and you see those big ogre looking guys, that's kind of how he looks like when he quarterbacks. Like, he's just real big and shoulder swaying and whatnot, but he's got a cannon for an arm, and his accuracy is actually insane, and he's a dual threat. So kid's really, really good. Cam Ward is probably the best quarterback here in the state of Florida at the moment, and as I mentioned before, the Canes are playing some of the best football out of the state of Florida. They're going to go see South Florida next week. That game's going to be Saturday, September 21st, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. is going to be good for that game because USF is playing tremendous football right now. Like I said, they had Bama in a dark spot. It was a 14-13 ball game for the better part of the game, and then in the middle of the fourth quarter, Alabama just ran away with the game after USF decided to kick a field goal instead of go for it on fourth down. I think that was a big part of the reason why they lost that game. And so I'm looking forward to seeing this Canes team versus USF. Hopefully, if USF can put that behind them, we'll be in for a good shootout. If not, the Canes roll USF, guys. It is what it is. Really, those are only two ways that game is going to go. It looks like the Miami Hurricanes, ranked 8th right now nationally, by the way, if you didn't know, is the best team in college football right now, and I think they're a lock to win the ACC right now. So congratulations, Canes. Keep up the great work. I hate the fact that you guys destroyed us the way you did during the first game of the season, but I'm glad to see you guys that it wasn't a fluke victory for you guys and that you guys are actually playing really, really good football. So congratulations to Miami Hurricanes. And like I said, they're a lock for the ACC, guys. Let's go ahead and jump back into the comments right quick. All right, let's see. Yeah. Dad, you said same thing I said. I agree with you 100%. Yukio knows it's been tough season. Yeah, tough season for them. Like I said, I think that Georgia just broke them in half. I think Georgia knows what that team is trying to do, or what that team was trying to do, and just shut it down emphatically. And because of the way that they got cooked, the way that they did, the structure was 63-3. I think the ball game was. When you ever get beat up like that, it's obviously just going to put you in a place. Recruiting is going to look at that and say, all right, you know what? I don't know. I don't know. And can you blame those kids for saying I don't know? Because when you getting beat up 63-3, it's not just players, right? It's coaching too. So just a lot of struggling that the team is going through, and unfortunately for FSU, I don't think there's a recovery in sight. They could lose every game this season, guys. It's so crazy to say that about an FSU team, but that's just where we're at, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and jump back on over and talk about the MLB. Let's talk about Rays baseball, guys. So the Rays are the team that still have a chance to make the playoffs. It's a slim, and when I mean slim, I mean like slim, shady chance, but it's possible. Now, the way they've been playing, they're not making it. The way they've been playing, they're not doing it. They're running out of time, realistically. I quite frankly, I don't think we're going to make it. I don't. I think this team has gone through a lot this year, losing Randy Arozarena and the off-the-field issues. I've been harping on that all season because obviously they were dramatic. And the injuries, man, the injuries have always been a detriment to this team, whether we've been successful or not successful. We've just always experienced a lot of injuries. I think that I don't think I've seen this Rays team completely healthy ever in my life. And mind you, I'm 30 years old. I don't think the Rays have ever been healthy for a season. When I mean healthy, I just not as many injuries as we've had, right? So in any case, though, the Rays lost this series against the Guardians. They lost today 0-2 or 2-0 to the Guardians, guys. Congratulations, Guardians. They're playing really, really good baseball right now. They're definitely going to make the playoffs, and they actually think they're going to make some noise in the playoffs as well. But for reference, the Rays are rocking a 73-77 record, 4 games below 500. We'll talk about why that is in a moment. The Guardians rocking an 86-64 record. Again, one of the better teams in baseball right now. So this team, this Rays team has gone through a number of changes in the last 2 years, right? So if you guys remember the start that we had 2 years ago, great start. I think it was like 21 in a row. And then after that, there was some off the field issues, which I'm not going to mention names. I'm just pointing out the things the facts that we already know about. You guys saw it. We all saw it. Very disgusting situation. And because of that, I think it was such a negative image put on the Rays because of one person. And I think we suffer because of that. Unfortunately, this team, like I said, in a rebuild. We'll see what happens next year, but I think this year is cooked, especially after losing back-to-back series right now, after winning that series against the Orioles. So the game against the Guardians, 0-2, not much of a chance, 2-5 in the last 7 games. This team's headed backwards. I don't have any good news for the Rays. I don't have any good news about the Rays. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, guys. Let's just go ahead and get into the next series. Red Sox, this team's rocking a 75-75 record. That game is going to be a 3-game series, and it starts Tuesday, September 17th at 6:50 p.m., guys. Clearly, there's not a lot to be excited about in Rays baseball. There's not actually a lot to be excited about in Florida baseball at the moment, and hopefully that'll change next season. But with the Rays, the way they've been playing, like I said, dropping the last 2 series and 2-5 in the last 7, there's not a whole lot they can do right now. I mean, they're in the mix, but that's just mathematically speaking. Barring something dramatic, this team is going to miss the playoffs. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Good luck, Rays, on your series against the Red Sox. Beat the Red Sox. Woo! But unfortunately, I have my reservations, and I just believe this season is cooked for this team. And then obviously for the Miami, the Marlins this team is, they're dead, bro. They're dead in the water. They're playing worse than the Rays are. What do I have to say? They lost their game against the Nationals 4-3. I think they actually lost 3 out of the 4 games in that series, which is going to put them back even further. They're 55-95, guys. This team is, like I said, they're cooked. They're playing worse baseball than the Rays are. It's unfortunate to see what's happening with this team, but it is what it is. There's not much we can do about it. There's not much we can say about it except for just hopefully they win the next game. Next series is going to be against the Dodgers. They're not winning that. They're not winning that game. They're not winning that series. Dodgers rocking an 87-61 record, one of the best teams in all of baseball right now. That game is coming to you Tuesday, September 17th at 6:40 p.m. Both of these teams playing at a late time. 10 minutes is going to separate the start time. So if you want to check out the games, that's going to be the way to do it. But there's not a whole lot more we can do, unfortunately, for the state of Florida as far as but that's what it is, guys. That's what it is in the state of Florida, man. Like I said, Marlins 55-95 records. Great season. It's all good. Hopefully next year will be better for these teams, and hopefully we have some young steppers into the mix that are going to help us find some success in both of these franchises. But until then, guys, thank you so much for having it locked here at Palm Tree Sports Radio. Thank you so much for spending this evening with me. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, is brought to you powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, guys. I hope to see you same time, same place next week. Hopefully next week we'll have some more positivity instead of this unfortunate losing string that we've seen from a lot of the Florida sports teams, but even more so than that, we are inching over to the start of the NBA and the NHL. I can't wait to get those two sports back with a promising team that the Lightning have, and of course with Miami and Orlando both playing tremendous basketball last year. I can't wait to talk to you guys about what's going on in the state of Florida next week. Hey, man, you guys have a wonderful week moving forward. I pray that you guys are safe. I pray that everything goes well for you guys in work, in school, whatever it is that you're up to. Again, thank you so much for having me locked here. My name is Corey Pujols signing off, and I'll see you next time, guys.